Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good everything wherever you are. How are you doing today? Day 4. All right, so we're moving along with this series, The Fire of Grief. And as I do this daily, it's also doing something inside of me. There's like a inner cleansing that's also happening for me as a form of reflection that I feel like I'm going through. So I'm going through it with you as well. And it's been a very powerful process so far, as I hope it has been for you in a way that you come away with something insightful for yourself. Or perhaps it's not for you, but someone that you know that might be in need of the information. So, how are you? I hope you are well as you can be in this moment. And maybe we just do that. We take a pause to ask ourselves that question. How am I doing right now? Right? So can we just do a little quick pause to ask ourselves that question? How am I doing? And let the question land in our bodies. Let it land in your body and notice where something might come up for you. A sensation, a feeling, a thought. And then we can walk with that, whatever revealed itself. We can hold space for that. Yeah. And when you're done, we say a thank you, body. So we're practicing presence, even with grief. Can I be present with this experience that I'm walking with? Can I be present with this consciousness that I'm experiencing in this moment? And what is the grief revealing to me about myself, about life, about what I want? And so presence, or you can use the word awareness, is key, because the grieving process, which is different from mourning, the two are very different. Mourning is, when you're in the space of honoring. Grief is something deeper, um, and you do both, right? Grief is it's psychological. It's like we mentioned before. It encompasses the multidimensional scope of our being. So it's not just on one level that we're experiencing grief. It's psychological, physiological, emotional, spiritual, energetic. All aspects of who we are show up to the party, so to speak. And so our presence, our full presence is required, and sometimes we can't even give our full presence to it. So, and that's okay. So I want you to be really gentle with yourself. This doesn't all have to be done all at once. And honestly, you can't do it all at once because it'll be overload for the nervous system. But wherever you are in your grieving process, walk with kindness, walk with ease, walk with compassion for yourself and what you are experiencing. And don't let anyone tell you to anything different. Don't allow anyone to pull you out of something that you're not ready to be pulled out of, because oftentimes people want to rush you out of your grieving process. But what they don't realize is that the grieving process, it's awakening something inside of you. And if we take these shortcuts, we might miss it. And so if they're uncomfortable with you being sad or uncomfortable with your grief, then that's something for them to work on within themselves. And that's just creating boundaries, right? And boundaries, by the way, are super important when we are in the grieving process, because our quota, one, for taking in BS is very low. Because my tank was so empty, I had to tell family that I can't handle any of your drama or any of your anything. I was like, I don't have the bandwidth for it. And at the time, I was that person that my family would come to for advice, um, and I just didn't have it in me to do, you know. And it was the one time that I actually spoke about what it was that I needed. And so that was a really powerful moment for me to step into my voice and my authority at that time, and to set boundaries for what I needed, because what I needed was all of my energy to assist me through this. I'm going to put on a timer here. Forgot to put it on. I'm trying to not let these videos go on and on, so a timer is going to really help me to stay on track. There we go. Perfect. So today, put that over here. Today I wanted to continue our conversation on fear, because I think it's worthy of another conversation. And also fear, in relation to fear, how you saw grief being modeled as a child, right? So my father died when I was very young. I was 10 years old. We had just moved to the United States. We moved to New York City. And within 3 months of moving, he was gone. Right? And it was completely unexpected. My mother was 5 months pregnant. We're in this new country, this new city, New York City of all places, in the 80s. Could you imagine? I don't know how many of you have been to New York City, but New York City in the 80s was rough. And I say rough, it's not the New York City that you have right now. So I didn't know how to grieve as a 10-year-old when my father died, when he passed away. And so I held all of that for actually 40-something years in this container, in this physical body. But I also didn't see anyone else grieving. I saw my mom cry and my grandmother, but I didn't see what that looked like beyond that. The anger, the rage, the constant crying. And I know my mom had to have gone through that, but it wasn't made visible to me as a child. And oftentimes in families, things are hidden from children. And one of the things that I made sure when I experienced my loss, was to give my children permission to see me crying, to see me sad, to see me angry. They needed to see grief in action. I wasn't a superwoman. I felt far from it, and I didn't want to be a superwoman. I didn't want to hold it all together, because I was friggin' upset. I was friggin' angry. I was mad. How could this be my life? And so giving myself permission to be so utterly human, to be expressive of what I was feeling, was important. And yet I didn't see that model for me when I was growing up. And I only knew to do this for myself because the energy of grief was so intense in my physical body that I couldn't hold it back. I couldn't contain it. So it had to come out. It had to come out. Um, and so when we're processing grief, especially if it's a sudden loss, what I've found is we're not just processing this acute grief that just happened. It could also be ancestral griefs that haven't been processed that comes down through the momentum tube, because everything is passed down, right? Like everything is passed down genetically. What wasn't healed, what wasn't processed, it goes somewhere, right? DNA, epigenetics, right? It goes somewhere. So I knew that I was also processing some grief of my mother, right? Maybe her mother before her. You know, these things tend to replicate itself until someone on that line says, okay, this stops with me. This is not how we're going to continue to do this. And so I'm bringing that up because I think it's really important that we acknowledge the body of grief that we live with in our families, the body of grief that goes unexpressed, that's silent, that is just silence in the family. And because if we're not acknowledging the big elephant in the room, how does that affect our health, our way of life? How does that help us to show up living fully? Because despite loss, my God, we're still worthy of joy, happiness, love. That's still available to us. And so it's not grief or joy, right? That's living in the land of duality, and sometimes that's what it feels like. That I'm in grief, and so I only have to be in this grief state. No, it's this and that. I can have both. Both can be part of my reality. And I really want to impress that upon you. It's okay to laugh when you're in grief. It's okay to have fun. That's nothing to feel guilty about. That is you welcoming life in the midst of your grief. That's an act of empowerment. It's an act of empowerment. So where do I want to go with this, right? And so I want to share a little bit of the story because I do want to keep on task with the time today. My goal, under 30 minutes. So during the first 3 months, my grief was so intense because the shock and the suddenness was so intense of his passing that I went straight into PTSD. Never had that experience before. Brought up sensations in my body that I didn't even know was possible. I wasn't sleeping. I kept having these felt like cold liquid flowing into my veins, and what that was cortisol, and I would feel it at night when I went to bed. And so I finally said, I can't live like this. And I went to my nurse practitioner and I said, look, these are the things that I'm feeling. I need some blood work done. And I asked her very strangely to check my neurotransmitters. I don't know where that came from, but it might have been something intuitive that was coming in for me to say. And she said, fine. So she did a comprehensive blood work. And sure enough, when the blood work came back, my cortisol levels were extremely elevated. And my serotonin levels were way below the normal rate. And so hence why I was having these negative thought patterns that kept showing up, part of the PTSD. So this was all new for me, right? Not used to tossing around words and serotonin, dopamine, and things like that. It wasn't in my language necessarily. But I was so grateful to have done that because then I knew that it was something that I could work towards. And so I was placed on some supplements to regulate my cortisol levels and to begin to build my serotonin levels up. So that was one thing that I did, because the fear was very intense, and it felt more than just the grief. So I knew it was an accumulation of ancestral, unprocessed experiences that I was also inhabiting in this body. It wasn't just loss. I was mourning my father and my husband, and 2 years before that, my mother. So lots of grief. It was complex. It wasn't simple grief. So in order to work with this fear, this anxiety, I would have anxiety and panic attacks quite often. Blood work, breath work, acupuncture, body work. I've been a body worker for 20 years. I just hung that hat up last year. Done with that season of my life of being a massage therapist. So I threw the kitchen sink at myself because I realized that as a multidimensional being, I couldn't treat the intense grief and the PTSD in a one-dimensional way. I needed everything to work for every other aspect of me. And so the acupuncture worked on my energy body. The chiropractor helped to adjust muscles that would get really tight. The body work helped to work through the fascia and my muscles. The breath work, my own technology, helped me to regulate my nervous system. So today, that's what I really want to do. I want to sit with you and go and introduce you, and you might know this already, and you might be doing this already. 2 techniques. The first one is easy box breath, box breathing. And the other one is like a pace breathing technique where we're going to focus on a longer exhalation. Both will help you to come out of the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. This is what the nervous system that we're in when we're in fear, when we're in anxiety, and we're in panic. And so we want to move into the parasympathetic nervous system to come out of fight or flight, so we can come back to regulation and being grounded, so we can show up for life. And this takes a while, right? And as a yoga teacher, I also recommend yoga, but easy yoga, yin yoga, to get into the tight spaces where a lot of this energy tends to be absorbed. So nothing crazy, though sometimes power yoga might be helpful, but that might engage your sympathetic nervous system a little bit more. So that's why I'm erring more on doing a slower pace yoga style like yin yoga, which I think will be really powerful. So wherever you are, let's find a comfortable seat, right? We're going to start with box breathing. We'll do a couple of cycles, and you can see for yourself what that feels like. And we'll begin by lengthening the spine, dropping the shoulders down, softening the jaw, easy gaze with the eyes, or you can even close your eyes. So the box breath will go like this. We'll breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, hold for the count of 4, and then repeat that cycle. I'll do the first couple of cycles with you, and then I'll let you do some cycles on your own. Right? So let's begin by exhaling the air out of our nostrils. And we breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. And continue on. Do another 3 cycles on your own. Really nice pace, allowing the belly to expand and the ribs to open up. Bring that breath into the chest. Nice exhalations, be easy. Just relaxing the whole entire body. Relaxing the whole body. Good. And as you finish your last cycle, just let your body come back to a natural breath. Let your body begin to breathe you, breathing through the nostrils. And just reflecting on the state of your body after doing that technique. Just notice how you feel. Notice the inner landscape, what that feels like. Notice what your mind feels like, your nervous system. And so I like doing box breath any time of the day that you feel you need it, right? So if you begin to find that you're about to have an anxiety attack or your mind is restless, you can come into this box breath. You can start it in the morning, do it in the afternoon, do it before going to bed. So let's start the next technique, which is an extension of the exhalation, right? So we won't have any pauses or any holds in this one. So we're just going to circulate that breath, the in and out breath. The only difference being the out breath is going to be longer. So we're going to inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 6. Really using the diaphragm, right? The diaphragm lifts on the exhalation and to squeeze out whatever needs to work its way out. And as you inhale, I want you to take full body breaths, right? To feel your belly expand, feel your rib cage open, and bring in that energy up into your chest. And then exhale nice and slow and long, right? I'll do the first couple of cycles with you, and then I'll let you go on your own. Right? So again, we're going to find that beautiful posture through the spine, elongating your spine, rolling the shoulders back and down. Relax your jaw, even relax the inner eye gaze. And we'll breathe out through the mouth, exhale. We'll begin in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So continue that process. Just let the body relax, stay in that relaxed state. Keep your focus on the breath coming in through the nostrils, the breath leaving through the nostrils. And if it's difficult to even breathe out through the nostrils, do the exhalation through the mouth. Start where you are. Sometimes just exhaling with a sigh is like sweet nectar, sweet honey for the nervous system. So if you need to breathe out through the mouth, do that, but I want you to breathe in through the nose, right? To receive this vitality, this life-affirming, breath. Feeling the expansion in your chest, the relaxation in the body as you exhale. And we're just coming back with this breath work. We're coming back to the present moment. We're coming back to the now. We're coming back to ourselves. We're coming back to life. So let's do 2 more cycles. And then when you're done, as you complete that, just allow yourself to rest again. Rest and observe. Rest and observe where you are, what you're feeling. So I wanted to share these 2 techniques as just one of many tools that you can do to regulate your nervous system, because that is so key in our healing, is how do I regulate my nervous system so I can function with wholeness. I can sleep, because sleep is such an important part of our healing process, and if we can't sleep, we can't really heal properly, right? So before I conclude, I want to do a little oracle card reading for you. I meant to do that yesterday and completely left my mind. This is why I have to write things down, right? Because sometimes I forget, and that's okay. That's part of my menopause story. But I love doing oracle cards. Sometimes I do with my one-on-one, but I like doing it after the end of a session to ask Spirit what message they might have for us. And so let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to ask Spirit what message it has for us, those of you that are listening to this. So I'm going to shuffle a couple of times. And I'm using a Denise Lynn. I really like her. She's a shaman. I had the privilege of meeting her in 2019 in Sedona. And I love the work that she does. And I love her Oracle deck cards. I think this one has something to do with destiny. I don't quite remember the full name. I'll share it with you tomorrow. By the way, what do you have on tap for today? It's Saturday. Right, I hope you're doing something exciting, something fun. It's going to be nice. I think it'll be warm here tomorrow in the Green Mountain state of Vermont, so in the 70s, which is a little not normal for Vermont, but I'm going to go out and enjoy it. Okay, let's see what Spirit wants to reveal to us. So I tend to just hear the word stop when I'm shuffling and doing these cards, so I'm just waiting to hear the word stop. My hands are so small. I'm grateful that this deck of cards isn't too big. Okay, there we go. Ha! Look at that. We got the card Miracles. Miracles. As you can see, it's a beautiful evening, but look at the rainbows, right? It's a mountaintop. And this is what we're doing, guys. We are creating miracles in our lives, right? By bringing up whatever needs to be tended, by acknowledging, by being so brave to do our healing work, do our shadow work, miracles will come into our lives. I really do believe that, right? I really, really do believe that. New life is coming for us. And why? Because we friggin' deserve that, right? I am a testament, as so many others, that grief doesn't have to own us, right? And our lives don't have to disappear because of grief. Grief doesn't have to be our master, but we can walk with it, and we can invite it to share its wisdom with us and all of that good stuff. Thank you. So wonderful to be with you again today, and again, super grateful for doing this work and spending this time with you. And again, if you like the content and you find it valuable, please click on the like button, subscribe or share it with others if you know other women who are going through grief, or even if it's a man. This is the fire of grief intended to help women move this energy. But yeah, please click on like or the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate that, as I'm completely new at this. But yeah, let's just spread the word on healing our griefs. That's what is really important, that we become a nation that's healed. So we don't project our unhealed wounds out into the world. So until tomorrow, have a fantastic day.